The show off. The show for people who want to find out who they are, then do it on purpose. And here is your host, Janine Coombs.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Show Off. Today we have an extra special treat. We have the amazing Tamu Thomas. Tamu is a human flourishing specialist, keynote speaker and mentor for emerging thought leaders. Her book, Women Who Work Too Much, was published by Hay House. I've read it. It's amazing. She helps high-performing women and future-focused organisations evolve the way they work so ambition, well-being and high performance coexist without burnout. Indeed. Tamu Thomas, welcome to the show!
Yay! Thank you for having me. I am delighted to be here.
Oh, what a treat. I feel like you've burst into my world and I would like to share with you, I might have mentioned this last time I saw you, but I know it's outrageous, but I didn't know who you were.
That's fine.
This time last
I'm not
year.
Beyonce.
I was expecting a faux outrage, but that's fine. So I was at Atomicon, which is an event I go to every year, and I spoke there at 2021, just saying, that's my policy. I always mention that. And I was deciding who to see next because they've got several streams and you can go to different rooms. And I thought, who shall I watch next? And there was this buzz. There was whisperings. Oh, well, I'm going to go see Tamu. I mean, that's why I came to Atomicon. Like, I've got to see Tamu. And I'm like, who is this woman? I have got to go to this talk. And I can't describe it. Like, I got a good seat quite near the front. And there was such a buzz. It was I've never known anything like it. At Atomicon or any other conference. And there was this buzz and whispering and you came in and it was like electric and everybody's eyes. I mean, you were the speaker, so obviously people are looking at you.
Yeah.
But it was like, all I can describe it was electricity. And you were so human and, you know, you weren't perfection. It was just human and everybody was with you and it was just amazing.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I sound like a sourdough starter. Take a little bit of me and I'll activate something within you. And also, when people talk about, oh, you're human and all of this, I just think that there's a lot of stuff in relation to professionalism, leadership, authority, where we think we have to be boring in order to be taken seriously, that we have to speak in a really flat affect and not be human in order to be seen as intelligent and all of those things. And I say no to all of that. I will be a human being. I'm very confident about what I know. I don't mind not knowing what I don't know. I don't think I need to know absolutely everything. And I would much rather us connect on a human level and we go on a journey together than me being there like I'm on some kind of pulpit talking down to people. That just doesn't work. I have a tendency to be environments and spaces where I'm speaking to very wise people. So I think I should speak to everybody like human to human rather than trying to be Gandalf or something.
Yeah, be less Gandalf. So I've been doing a little bit of sniffing around on what I can talk to you about. And there's so many things because I saw you talk live twice last year and once this year. So I've got so much content that we could talk to. It's going to be hard to fit it all in. But I love this phrase, and this comes through in your book, obviously, because it is about toxic productivity and getting away from that. But you say work should develop us, not deplete us. And you also say that, I can feel the truth in this, capitalism does deplete us. It's a degenerative process. Whereas it doesn't need to be. And I think that's the accepted wisdom, isn't it? You work hard and by the end of the day, you're exhausted.
Yeah, you've got nothing
like that's
left.
Like a norm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you think about, so I'm not talking about people who are working and having to work 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. That is different. So I don't want people to listen to this and think that I'm speaking to absolutely everybody. Who I'm speaking to are people who have studied, trained, they've done a lot to be in some kind of a profession. And they were taught as children, if they work really hard, they get good grades and they work for a company, because when I was growing up, it was very much about working for a company. We weren't as entrepreneurial as we are now, that you would be able to earn a great salary, you would have status, status, as a woman, you would have more freedom and then you would be able to flourish. Then we get into these careers or we start these businesses and we're doing the hard work. We are, to a lesser or greater degree, having these status, but the freedom to flourish doesn't exist because we give our all to work and leave ourselves with what's left over. And then if you are, generally speaking, a woman and you have got a family, you've got caring, even if you don't have a family, it's likely that you have got a higher level of caring responsibilities because of the way we are socialised in a patriarchal society. So by the time you give what's left over to your caring responsibilities, you're at a deficit and you're trying to give to yourself from this place of deficit. It's not sustainable. So there are some studies that show that human beings operate at their optimal levels when they are working at around 80% of their physical and mental capacity. Yet we have these messages about, I give 110%, I go above and beyond, which means, well, 110% doesn't exist in the first place. So if you are giving beyond the 100% you've got, it's coming from somewhere. Invariably, it's coming from our biology, it's coming from our vital organs, it's coming from our mental health. And it means then that when there are situations where we need to do a bit more, we've got nothing left in the tanks, so we end up burnt out. So I think that it's high time we redress that balance, not that there's any real balance anywhere, but understand that work is one of the ways we meet our needs. Various needs, and in a capitalistic society, all of our needs are met through work because we earn money and everything we need as human beings we need to pay for. Even thinking about our health, I was just saying to my daughter yesterday, we live in a world that's got all kinds of terrain. Like, the world technically is one big gym, but I pay next to £300 a month to go to a gym because of the way life works and the way our society is structured. So we do need to earn that money, but it's remembering what we're doing it for and making sure that work is meaningful for us and our lives.
I'm on board with all of that. I feel like it's a commonly known fact now. Maybe it's not, but it feels like a commonly known fact now that the schooling system, like we are conditioned from school and younger to be good little workers.
Yes.
And school was set up to prepare people for work life in whatever, in a factory, in an office, in a 9 to 5, in a nice, as robotic way as possible.
Yes.
way. So it's just crackers that we're still doing that and expecting people to function like robots, but we're not, and we know this, and we're learning more and more about our physiology and the mind-body connection, the gut connection every day, and none of it is feeding through to the school system. None of it is feeding into the way we work. It's just crackers.
Do you know what? It's not actually crackers. It's actually how it was designed. If you think about the industries we work in, if you think about the government, it doesn't actually suit them for us to operate in a way where we're empowered. They wouldn't be able to extract our labour in the way they do and give us very little in return. When I speak in organisations, some of the people in these organisations are earning 7 figures plus. So they're earning a very good salary in comparison to the average in our society. Yet their standard of living increases with the amount of money they're earning. So even though they are earning the type of money that should support freedom, they're trapped. They've got the school fees, they've got the bigger car, they've got all of the things. So even though you might look at them and think, oh, it's all right for you because you're earning all this money, they might be, but they're still trapped in the consumer commodity cycle that keeps everybody trapped, working in a way that's not good for them because of the ways things are set up. What is required is for more of us to start questioning, what is important for me? What is important for my life? What is going to enable me to live a life where at the end of my time, when I go to meet my maker, I look back and say, I lived a life that satisfied me. I had relationships that satisfied me. I was able to make a meaningful contribution. If more of us ask ourselves this question and we start to think, okay, well, what kind of work, will support me to live that kind of life will make very different choices, which will mean that the power structures will need to listen to us because we're not participating in the way we were previously. The structures and systems as they are rely on our participation, and they keep us on the very edge of knackeredness and burnout so that we don't have the capacity to go beyond being enraged. And for women and people who are socialized as girls, being enraged is so taboo, we would rather suppress it and squash it down and try to think positive, try to think nice, or even worse, we start becoming anxious and depressed because we start to feel hopeless.
Oh, I mean, that's rife, isn't it? Mm-hmm. All of those symptoms. So it's about unhooking from capitalism, unhooking from, actually, society's telling me I need this kind of car, I need to look this kind of way, I need to own these kinds of things. If we can unhook from that, it gives us a bit more freedom.
Absolutely.
I mean, having read your book, obviously, you've done a huge amount of learning and researching over the years, because it's so. I really loved your book.
Thank you very much.
And it was just the way you bring into, I love a bit of neuroscience and a bit of physiology, and you're bringing in the whole reason why we get anxious if we're suppressing emotions, or if we're involved in toxic productivity, and how it all works together. How did you become so wise? Like, you obviously have found a calling at something that lights you up, but what was your journey to finding that? Was it a trigger, or was it like a dawning gradual realization over the years? Like, tell me about your journey to where you are now and what you do now.
Well, first of all, I love learning. I didn't do very well at school at all. I left school with 2 GCSE passes. I'm a late diagnosed ADHD person, so we didn't know what ADHD, neurodiversity, all of that kind of stuff was when I was at school in the 80s and 90s. And I was constantly being told about how much potential I had and wasn't living up to my potential. And I didn't have the words to articulate it, but I was like, I know what I'm capable of, but I literally feel like I'm wearing cement boots and everybody's telling me you should go over there, but nobody is seeing that I'm in these boots that are preventing me from getting to that place. And what it is that if you ask me to tell you about something I'm learning, I can talk away about it. But the moment you give me specific questions, it's like everything deletes out of my brain and I'm in panic mode, which is not uncommon with people who have ADHD. So I grew up feeling like the way I do things is the wrong way. And so I compensated by working really, really hard. Outside of school. So once I got into employment, I wasn't necessarily working in a way that was going to get me a promotion, but I was working hard at pleasing. If there were extra duties that needed to be done, I would volunteer. If people needed help, I would be there. If somebody needed to be shown around as part of their onboarding and orientation, they knew that I would say yes. If there was a need for people to stay late, I would volunteer myself. I was constantly proving and trying to earn my worth, because the route from what I knew in my brain to get it on paper was always very challenging. So I just get into a cycle of recognizing that if I made myself indispensable, I was a valued member of the team, everybody really liked me, so pleasing behavior became a way I earned my place. Toxic productivity became my jam. I started off working in entertainment. I worked for a record company, and I got to a point where I'm like, I couldn't give a damn whether Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears gets the #1 this week. I want to do something more meaningful. And at the same time, I was volunteering with young people. I was helping them with their CVs and interview skills for the Refugee Council. And also my mum was a foster carer, and I looked at the way children were experiencing the care system and I thought I could do better than that. So that was 1 week. The next week I opened the local newspaper and there was a half-page advert for trainee social workers. So you would get on-the-job training and whatnot. And I thought I can do that, because I don't trust that I'd be able to go to university. But if I was with a small group of people who were studying, it was tied to my work. And quite frankly, I was very motivated by shame. People who engage in people pleasing behavior tend to be. And I knew that the shame would make me do the work and not fail. So I became a social worker, and I always wanted to have my own business. When I became a mother, I thought I would have a social work business, and I wanted to work in a way whereby when my child was old enough to take themselves to and from school, I would be at home. So they'd come home to me being there and be able to have chats, and the higher level of emotional support they needed, I would be able to provide. But I crashed out. I experienced significant burnout. I was probably burnt out for about 7 years, and it came to a head with me having a panic attack on my way to court. Going to court was a regular part of my role. I was an expert witness. I was always involved in complex cases, from the High Court in Temple right through to local magistrates' courts. But on that day, I literally felt like I was going to collapse and die, and I knew something was very wrong. Went to the GP. The GP basically said, it sounds like anxiety. And I did this test, and they said, it suggests a severe level of moderate depression, and they wanted to medicate me. And I've got nothing against medication, but I knew it wasn't something I could be medicated out of. I knew it was to do with behavior. So I went on my own journey of learning about myself and my humanity. Of course, I got a nutritionist, because it's always about the food. And the nutritionist was able to break down the ways I had been over-functioning had led to me having the low mood that I left because I couldn't possibly be depressed, which then manifested as anxiety and then became a panic attack. And when I started to explore this topic, because I still didn't know what burnout was, and if you had said to me you were experiencing burnout, I would have been like, you're a hater. I'm just a go-getter. I'm ambitious. But as I looked around me, whether it was in my personal life or via TV programs or social media, I just saw a disco ball of women, toxically productive, over-functioning all the time, all around me. And I thought, well, if everybody is at some version of this, it's not me, it's not a personal thing, it's not a personal failing, it's something systemic. There's something that we are all buying into, which is contributing to the way we're behaving. So I decided to set up a business. Well, first I did a positive psychology course because I love to learn. And of all the things I found, positive psychology was the most helpful in me recovering from burnout. And positive psychology led me to the world of somatics, because a lot of the mindfulness and stuff that comes from positive psychology is very much linked to neurobiology, somatic therapy, and so on. And so at this positive psychology course, I was talking about career options with the tutor. And he was like, well, social workers are the coaches of the therapeutic world. You would make a really great coach with the skills you've got. Have you ever thought about coaching? I was like, I don't even know what that is. So explored the world of coaching, set up my business, did a course in somatic coaching because I felt that was the most impactful method I could find at that time, and set up my business, started talking about toxic productivity and the impact it has on our biology and the nervous system, started writing for a beautiful independent magazine that isn't in circulation anymore called O. My agent used to read my column and said, I love your column. Have you thought about writing a book? I'm an agent. I'd love to represent you. And then not too long after that, a publisher from the Hachette group messaged me on social media saying, I love this conversation you're having about toxic productivity. Have you thought about writing a book about it? And I was like, I didn't even know I was talking about toxic productivity so much. I was just saying what I was seeing with my clients. And then that led to me writing the book.
Oh my goodness. I'm really getting a sense that I know you had underdiagnosed ADHD and you felt like you had these concrete boots and you've had things in your way, but you're very resourceful and you're very, you've got a bit of a can-do attitude. Like, that's not working.
But I get up again.
Don't set me off. Start jumping. But you're very okay, that's not working. I'm going to try this. Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe this will, okay, I don't do very well in exams. I'll try this.
Yeah.
This appeals. So where does that come from? Do you feel like,
My mother.
is it something you learn? Is it? Yeah.
My mum is one of the most resilient, resourceful, and also encouraging people on this planet. There has never been a time where I've had an idea or I've wanted to do something and she's sowed a seed of doubt. It's always like, okay, cool, that's great. How are you going to do it? And I've seen her navigate through life like, okay, how am I going to do this? So, for example, people will ask me, oh, how do you do this with ADHD? And I'm like, it's not a sentence. It might be a barrier, but I can go around it. I can go over it. I can go under it. There's always a way. As far as I'm concerned, there's always a way. If I want to do something, I'm going to find a way to do it. Life is too short for me not to give it a good go. And if it doesn't work out, fine. I'll either try something else or I'll try another route. But the other day I was on a call and somebody was like, oh, I love this energy you bring. And I was like, I'm alive. I fully participate in my life. Don't get me wrong. I have times of feeling like I'm in a quandary. I have periods of uncertainty. But if I want to do something, I just find the way to do it. There is no way I am going to end this life not knowing I've given things a good try. And it's fun. It's enjoyable. I don't do things before. I would do things in a way where it was almost like I was hauling myself across hot coals or something. But now it's like, okay, this is a really exciting adventure. I'm going to give it a go. Why not? Why not me?
Yeah. Oh, you're lighting me up. I've got stuff. I've got stuff that I've been saying I want to do for years, and I'm like, just need to do it. Just need to find a way, take that little next step.
That's it. Just that little next step. I can get myself in all kinds of tangles by being overly focused on the end result. I just focus on that next step. And sometimes I'm not even sure what's going to happen after that next step. There are some people who have got very good foresight. I'm a hindsight person. But when I look back, it always makes sense. And then I can use that as a template that becomes a strategy that I replicate and I use again until it's no longer of service. And I need to adapt it so that it can be useful in this next iteration I'm in. But I just think there's nothing I'm going to do that's going to cause irreparable harm. So I might as well just give it a go.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So obviously you're an author and a speaker, and a thought leader. What do you do with people, with clients? Because you do have clients as well. Tell me what you do with them and how it works.
So my clients are very clever, experienced, charismatic, charming people. Okay, so these are people who work for elite academic institutions. There was one person I worked with, she didn't have one, she had 2 PhDs. It's not uncommon for me to work with people who are so highly skilled, but they are so mindful about doing the right thing and about being people of integrity. They overthink everything. So they've got so much richness in their brains, it overwhelms them and they don't know what to do with it. So I help them take all of that beautiful stuff they have in their brains and I help them look at who they are, who they've been, all of the expertise, qualifications, etc. they've amassed, and I help them to distill it into a beautiful, big idea. So that's like the overarching or underpinning principle of what their work is. And then I help them to develop thought leadership work around that. So I help them get clear about who they are, what they stand for. We create a framework that is able to lend itself to different parts of their work. I help them think about what's going to be their most potent and impactful topics to become speakers. I help them develop the confidence and the mindset so they can go out there owning all of their glory, not worrying about being seen as a show off, so they can support huge groups of people. I help them to dial in their messaging so that they're showing up and sharing stuff in a way where they become magnetic for print media, like media in general. And I help them build a platform whereby if they're interested in writing a book, they build a strong platform so that when they either are noticed by publishers or they go out and pitch, when people do their digital homework, they will be able to see that this person actually has the capacity to lead people with their thoughts. A lot of my people have been caught up in kind of how influencers show up on social media, trying to be relatable, trying to be everybody's friend. And I help them switch from that relatability trap to focusing on being the remarkable people they are and positioning themselves as the authority they are, not in an authoritarian way, but show up, put respect on your work so that people can see that you and your work are worthy of the kind of respect that gets them to book you to come in and speak for their organisations or write articles for magazines and so on and so forth. Because I think that when you have that level of expertise, you can leverage that and have a huge impact and make really good money so that you can enjoy your life. Why not?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, it's so hard to do this work on your own.
Absolutely.
Even if you had the skills to do it on other people. It's like, for instance, you didn't realise that toxic productivity was becoming a platform that you spoke about. You were just expressing yourself and somebody else had to point it out.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you have a fabulous little private podcast that is free to access called Booked.
Yes.
And it's for senior professionals and subject matter experts who are tired of letting opportunities pass them by, which is exactly what you're talking about. That sounds like a really valuable resource that speaks to everything you've just been talking about.
Yeah. And there are people who have got no interest in becoming a public speaker. They've had no interest in writing books, but it's helped them as entrepreneurs really get clear about who they are at this stage. Because what often happens is people have built a platform based on who they were being at that time. And when you are an entrepreneur, like we're constantly developing professionally, personally, so we outgrow previous versions of our work. And then lots of people feel like, oh gosh, well, this is, I've been authentic with this message. If I change, people are going to think I'm not being authentic, or people are going to think I think I'm better than them, and all of these other kinds of things. So it helps people own their authority and their message and how they want to show up, as well as sharing things for people who want to build a thought leadership platform. So somebody sent me a message yesterday saying that she had been listening, and based on that and something else she had been doing, she pitched to press, and now she's got a press feature in the iPaper, and also I think it's the Sunday Times. So it's very practical. It's things you can put into practice so that you can build your authority. And I think that even if you don't want to be a speaker, if you are a business person, it's essential that you're not trying to show up on social media like an influencer, that you're actually showing up as somebody who is a leader people can trust.
Yeah, it's an important distinction. And there's so many people to compare yourself to online, and it's just muddies the water, doesn't it? You've got to find your own... so much of it is finding the confidence to go your own way, even if it's not getting the most engagement to begin with. It's like, oh no, why am I not getting enough engagement? It's like, just forget that.
And mute people. There are so many people I found myself comparing myself to that I had no business comparing myself to, and I like their content, I like what they do, so I just muted them. And every once in a while, because I like to support particularly women and people from marginalised groups, I'll go onto their profile and like some of their recent posts, but I just don't have that coming at me all the time. And one of the things I talk about in the podcast is making sure you have got a broad spectrum of inspiration. There are so many people, for example, in the coaching industry, all of their inspiration comes from the coaching industry. I'm encouraging people to look at musicians, artists, different writers, different types of people, so that you are getting holistic inspiration rather than the type of inspiration that makes you a carbon copy of everybody else in your industry. And that reminds you that there's a much bigger world than the people you compare yourself to on social media. And it helps you to engage with what makes you unique, what makes you special. In a crowded marketplace, we've all got access to the same strategies, okay? Good prompting on AI tells us all the same thing. But getting to grips with who you are, what makes you unique, the different inspiration that helps you to become, and I'm not talking about copying people, but helps you tune in to what makes you inspirational, that's one of the key things that's going to differentiate you in a crowded market. And what I want people to do is have the confidence to be the youest you can be, so that people are engaging with you as you are, rather than the version of you they project onto you, which is what happens, particularly to women online.
Gosh, so true. Oh, I love all that. Tamu Thomas, you have been amazing. Thank you so much. The links to buy your book, which I suggest you buy at least 12 copies of.
Thank you.
Give to every overworking woman you know. And the private podcast will be in the show notes. And I'll very much look forward to fangirling you again at Atomicon this year.
Woohoo! I look forward
you're on
to
the stage
seeing you
again.
there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show off.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.
You have witnessed the show off with Janine Coombs. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button and share with your friends. For more episodes, go to janinecoombs.co.uk/show off.